It's supposed to feel.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 post-game show. I am your host, Jim Rosati. Tyler was supposed to be with me tonight, but he's having some internet issues, so he may hop on here later on, but we're just going to roll. The show must go on. Pirates lose tonight in pretty excruciating fashion. They drop game one against the New York Yankees 7-5. We'll get into kind of the whole storyline of today's game. Gerrit Cole was making his return to PNC Park, his first start since being traded away back in 2018. Yankees coming into town. It was a good crowd. Johan Oviedo getting the start, kind of looking on and off throughout it. But I really want to start with really what I think is the main story of today's game. What's up, Tyler? The main story of today's game, the ninth inning. And there we go. Tyler's here. So I stalled there for a little bit, Tyler, while you were working through some things.
I appreciate you
on your end. But I want to talk about the ninth inning. So David Bednar has pitched back-to-back games. The Pirates have won 3 in a row coming into today. He was unavailable, so that meant closer duties fell to Colin Holderman, who has looked very, very sharp lately. But he enters into the game in the ninth inning. The Pirates have a 5-3 lead. We'll get to how they got to that lead later on, but let's kind of just focus on this ninth inning and just kind of a vacuum. He leads off. DJ LeMahieu leads off the inning with a single. Aaron Judge single. And you got a little bit of a buffer room, so you're like, okay, it's all right. It's a 2-run lead, but then he walks Gleyber Torres to load the bases for Giancarlo Stanton. And now you're like, well, I'm not super comfortable here, but hey, it's still Colin Holderman. He's looked really good. His stuff is good. Like, we're gonna figure out a way to get out of this. And for a second there, like, Maybe you kind of thought he would. He gets Stanton to foul out to first base. Alfonso Rivas makes a nice play over the railing along the first baseline. 1 out. But then the wheels come off. He walks Estevan Florial, which walks in a run. It's now 5-4 Pirates. 1 out. And then Anthony Volpe hits a tailor-made game-ending double play right to Liover Peguero. Clean feed to second. Bay takes the throw, makes the turn, and Ji-Hwan Bae, 90 feet between bases, Tyler. Ji-Hwan Bae throws it maybe 75 feet. Just an awful, awful throw. He had all the time in the world. It was an easy double play. The game was over, and Ji-Hwan Bae throws it away. And 2-run score on that what would have been a game-ending double play.
So, Jim, there's a lot of layers to that whole thing you just said. I think there's a lot of blame to go around there, and I've kind of tried to wrap my head around this whole thing. Colin Holderman, for the most part, I don't really want to pile on him. He wasn't good enough tonight. No. But for the most part, you're going to have, he's been good. You're going to have these types of nights.
He was off.
He was bad tonight. You can't walk and run. Plain and simple, can't happen. I think the next question comes to, why is Ji-Hwan Bae playing second base at that point in the game? And I think there's an argument to be made either way there. We've seen Derek Shelton very, very friendly with defensive switches late in games. He loves doing it. Is Henry Davis in right field in that situation? No. I think there's a very strong argument that Ji-Hwan Bae is just as bad at second base as Henry Davis is in right field. Ji-Hwan Bae is a bad second baseman. Now, granted, I do think you can. There's also another side of the coin where this team doesn't have a second baseman. They have to find one. You grow in those types of situations. Ji-Hwan Bae is a guy that I think you can hope he can develop into some sort of starting second baseman in the major leagues. I don't really believe in it, but this team's got to find one. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're looking to win a game, Alika Williams is sitting on the bench. That's the big part there. Lastly, Ji-Hwan Bae just got to make that play. His footwork's absolutely atrocious there. He throws the ball into the dirt. Every little bit of that's bad. And not to mention, Alfonso Rivas he's got to probably keep that ball in front of him. That's really not his fault, but he's got to find a way to knock that ball down somehow. There's just a lot bad all around in that inning.
Yeah, I think you hit everything. Like Doug brings up in the comments too, like what's even the point of carrying Alika Williams on your roster if you're not going to use him in that situation? Like that is why you have a defense only shortstop, right? Is to plug him into a situation like that where you can put Williams in as short, you move Peggy over to second, and now you've got your best defense out on the infield, right? On top of that, just a pathetic play by Ji-Hwan Bae. I mean, it's just a massive choke job by him. There's no other way to put it. And I'm sorry, like I'm going to pile on Ji-Hwan Bae here. I'm going to pile on him, and I'm not going to mince my words. I don't like the guy as it is. I've had everyone who's watched this show knows my feelings and your feelings on Ji-Hwan Bae. I don't like him. I don't think he should be on this team. I never wanted him on this team. I want him off this team as fast as he can possibly get off of this team. But here's the thing. He's on the team, right? So he's on the team. I'm going to have to deal with it. But if he's on the team and he's not performing well, then I'm going to absolutely pile on this guy because he shouldn't be on this team. He shouldn't be in this organization. He shouldn't be in professional baseball. He shouldn't be in this country. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, the dude should be in jail somewhere across the Pacific Ocean. I don't like, oh man. Like, and when you're doing stuff like this, you're just a bad baseball player. He can't hit. He has a 70 weighted runs created plus on the year. He has an OPS of 625. He can't field. All of the defensive metrics hate him. He's fast. You know what? Cool. He's fast. But you know what? He's stupid on the base pad. He doesn't know what he's doing. He makes too many mistakes. He's a bad baseball player. I don't want him on this team anymore. And I get it. Like, it's the end of the year. Like, this game's meaningless. Like, whatever. But listen, I watch Pirates games for enjoyment. I don't know why, because they don't give me a whole lot of it. Yeah. But I don't want to watch Ji-Hwan Bae on this baseball team anymore, especially if he's going to just give away games to other teams.
Yeah. I'm glad you said all that because I tried to be slightly positive and maybe look at the other side of the coin here, but no, I want nothing to do with him. He's a garbage player and a garbage human. I've said it enough times. I just don't want to say it every time I have to bring up his name, that I can't stand the guy and want nothing to do with him, and he makes my skin crawl having to root for him to do well. Also, he threw away a game tonight because he has no fundamentals and can't do anything properly because the only thing he knows how to do is run fast. Aside from that, he's garbage. He's absolute garbage.
And here's another thing too. Like, Mark brings up a good point. Like, why is it that Ji-Hwan Bae is getting these infinite opportunities while he's playing just like garbage? Whereas you've got someone like Nick Gonzalez who's just crushing the ball in the minors since being sent back down. Like, give the guys an opportunity who deserve the opportunity. Ji-Hwan Bae, he's now played 100 games in the major leagues this year, and he's been terrible.
Awful.
He's been bad. He's been a bad baseball player. So why do we just keep giving him infinite opportunities? He's bad. Like, cut him loose.
I don't disagree with you. I think to maybe play a little bit of devil's advocate here, He is a game changer whenever he's playing well. Problem is that he doesn't do it more than once every 2 months. When he plays well, and I think that's really what Ben Sherrington's looking at here with G1 Bay, is that when he is on, he can absolutely change a game just because of the speed alone. Is that worth everything else you have to deal with him as a baseball player? Because he does so many things awfully that he very easily loses you as many games as he does win them for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, he's a bad baseball player. The metrics all show it. He can't hit. He can't field. I'm done watching him. I don't want to watch him anymore.
Never wanted to, but I mean, if I'm stuck watching him, like, here's the thing that just, I know I mentioned that defensive replacement there, and really, I don't understand why he's playing second base aside from maybe wanting to see him grow as a second baseman, even though his position's not a second baseman. Plain and simple, he will not be a second baseman in the major leagues. He's bad in the infield. There's also a part where your team is playing very good baseball right now. It's September. Maybe you try to build on it. Go try to keep winning baseball games. That's trying to develop in the wrong way, in my opinion. It's focusing on the individual rather than just trying to win games right now and try to grow something coming into next year.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not going to say anything more about G1 Bay, but the Yankees take the lead on that play. Peraza singles again, Cabrera singles again. 9 Yankees come to the plate in that 9th inning. Holderman just he wasn't good, and you add in the fact of that play that just kind of piled on everything.
He wasn't good, but he still should have got the save.
Yeah, he was good enough. He was good enough to
actually.
Yeah, he was good enough to get through the inning. Like a competent defense gets him through that game, and the Pirates are winners 5-4.
Yeah. Like, he was good enough. Like, there's no other way to put it. He was good enough. He wasn't good, but he was good enough.
Pirates go down in order in the 9th. Clay Holmes comes in, just makes quick work of Hayes, Swinski, and Rivas. Yeah. Yeah, of all people, Clay Holmes. But let's get to the start of the game. That's how the game finished up. Wasn't fun. Wasn't pretty. It was a pretty terrible ending to otherwise what was a very fun game to watch. It was a good game. There was, a lot of stuff happened. Some good, some bad, but like it was an entertaining game, and that like a lot of things happened in it. But Oviedo gets to start today, and it was an extremely interesting Oviedo start. I'll say this, like 100%, you've got to give him a lot of credit for the performance that he put together. 5 innings. He ended up giving up just the 1 run. He was clearly off for a lot of tonight. He gives up 4 hits. He walks 5. I'm pretty sure through the first 3 innings, he gave up 8 base runners through those innings. He was dancing in and out of trouble all evening. Struck out 7 batters. It was not a pretty performance, but it was gutsy. Like, it was one of those performances where you just tip your hat to the guy and you go, hey, you know what? Hell of a job, because you didn't have it tonight, but you pitched well enough to keep this team in the game. You pitched well enough to give this team a win. And like an outstanding effort from Johan Oviedo. I want to get into more of this, but just what were your thoughts on Oviedo tonight? I mean, I thought it was an extremely gutsy performance.
Gutsy is a good way to put it. I think you got just every bit of Johan Oviedo tonight. Basically, the entire season of Johan Oviedo was mixed into tonight. Lots of walks. You got the strikeouts, but for the most part, it was effective. Effectively wild's probably a good way to put it, but the slider really worked tonight. I think maybe all but one of his strikeouts was on a slider. It really did work. It's been his best pitch all year. It's a really good pitch.
Yeah, he leaned on that pretty heavily.
Yeah, and you can tell when he doesn't have it, he's really got to lean on it, which is also probably cause for a lot of the walks. Really, it's just another indicator of what Johan Oviedo is. The efficiency is what's going to hold him back from being a really good starting pitcher. I don't know that he's ever going to find that efficiency. It's just kind of who he is. But on nights like tonight, normally that's going to be a 5-6 run game that he's going to give up, and you're going to have to battle through 5 innings somehow to save the bullpen. He's able to limit them. He got a couple strikeouts in the third in a big spot. Just gutsy. Like you said, gutsy.
Yeah. Let's talk about that third inning. He he faced the heart of the Yankees order. The Pirates had just taken the lead in the bottom half of the second. Aaron Judge singles, Gleyber Torres walks, and then he gets Stanton to strike out. He walks Florial. So this is kind of the game it was, a lot of walks. And then he strikes out Anthony Volpe, and then he strikes out Osvaldo Peraza. So, like I said, really, that was right there kind of the turning point, because then once that third inning ended, he had a much smoother fourth and fifth innings. That third inning is kind of what kind of turned him around. Because after the third, I thought he may be done. Like, he was at 74 pitches through 3, and like he was not looking sharp at all. But they put him back out there for the fourth. He pitched a pretty clean inning in the fourth, gave up just an infield single, and then 1, 2, 3 in the fifth. So just an excellent performance to kind of just power through the stuff and just the command being off. Really, really good outing from him. One thing I want to touch on, and this is something where, this is a conversation that probably needs to be had. He's now at 166 and 2/3 innings on the year. And you can see just on the last couple of outings that he's had, he just isn't looking normal. Like, there's just something off. His fastball command is way off. Last year, he threw 117 and a third innings. So we're about 50 innings past where he was last year, which was his career high. 30th start of the year. Like, do we really want Oviedo finishing off this season with 2 or 3 more starts, or should we start talking about maybe go to the bullpen and just maybe pitch an inning here and there the rest of the year, or just shut him down altogether?
I mean, I think that's a really good question. I'd like to see him finish the year, and it's maybe just selfish because I'm a Pirates fan and I don't want to watch more bullpen games. But at the same time, it might not be a bad idea to call up some of these guys just tooling around in AAA, AA, and let them get a start. I don't know that 2 or 3 more starts this year is really going to hurt him long term, but it certainly won't help him. So I think at this point, you almost want to lean more towards the caution, because they're out of it. There's nothing more to really be done. I think everything you've gotten out of Johan Oviedo this year is more than you could have ever asked for.
Yeah.
So it's something I probably hadn't really thought about, is looking at possibly shutting him down at this point, but I think I could easily be talked into it.
I'm kind of there, because Johan Oviedo is one of those guys that you're gonna have to rely on for next year. Like, you are counting on Johan Oviedo to occupy one of your 5 spots in the rotation next year. Like, there's no battle in spring training. You're not bringing in guys to replace him. Like, Johan Oviedo is in next year's starting rotation, no matter what, right? So at this point, I think I'm kind of like, he's accomplished everything that you really need to see from him this year. Why push it? He's already 50 innings over his career high. You put him out there another 3 starts, and you're pushing 70 innings over his career high at that point. So it's like, what else is there really to show? If you're Johan Oviedo, if I'm the Pirates, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Hell of a season. You've got a spot with us next year. Get better this offseason, come ready to play. And then next year, go out there and throw 180 innings, right? That's kind of where my head's at. And a lot of it just has to do with really just how he's looked these last couple of starts. I think it's just, you can kind of tell he's just worn down. I think the fastball velocity was down today. Velocity's down, commands all over the place. I said, maybe move him to the bullpen and let him just pitch an inning or two, here and there. But
maybe.
I don't need to see him start any more games, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think the other part that we might overlook is if he goes out there and gets beat around a little bit, what good does that really do? If he doesn't have it because he's just worn down on the year,
Yeah.
and he goes out and gives up 7-8 runs in 2 innings because he's shot for the year, what good does that do going into next year?
None.
No.
Doesn't
And
do
really,
anything.
what is a 6? If he goes out and tosses 6 innings, strikes out 4 guys, walks 3, gives up 1-2 runs, what good does that do? Really none.
Yep.
We're just at a point where I think we've seen everything we need to see out of him.
I agree. And like I said, conversation, I'm sure it'll be something that the club talks about, because Gerrit Jones, one of those guys in AAA that you're talking about today, 6 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts. Like, hey, maybe reward him with a start or 2 up here.
Right. I think you're at that point now where you're almost at that phase of the season where it's time to really start rewarding some of the guys that performed like they did 2 years ago.
Yep.
2
I'm
3
with
years
you.
ago, however long goes.
So Oviedo was the starter on the Pirates side. Our old buddy Gerrit Cole was the starter for the New York Yankees. His first start at PNC Park since he was a Pittsburgh Pirate. So no tribute video today, but Gerrit Cole gets he immediately gets into some trouble in the first inning. The Pirates got to him early. He did a good job of limiting damage, but he walks G1 Bay to lead off the game. He walks Brian Reynolds. He gives up a hit to Key Brian Hayes, loads the bases in the first 3 batters. But he limits the damage, gets Jack Sawinski to hit a sac fly. But then Connor Joe gets out, and he walks, and then Miguel Andujar flies out to end the inning. So what I mean, I don't know how much you watch Gerrit Cole anymore, but the Pirates got 2 runs off of him. They got that run in the first. They added another one in the second on a Brian Reynolds single. Gerrit Cole, he's good.
It was like classic Gerrit Cole for the Pirates, where he's good, but it's like you're just not dominant. That's really what he looked like tonight, and I think I don't watch much Gerrit Cole because I don't care to watch the Yankees ever in my life, but it feels like this year he's been more like the Pirates Gerrit Cole, where the numbers are there, but
The numbers are there. Like,
it's just
yeah.
there's something missing there. Maybe it's just pitching in Yankee Stadium that, you give up a fly ball and it gets away from you.
Yeah, I mean, he's given up 20 homers, but the guy is just a flat out. He's an innings eater. He's got
He is a lot more of an innings eater now than he was with the Pirates.
Yeah, he's
Tonight
an innings
was
eater.
a lot more reminiscent of 2015 Gerrit Cole.
208 strikeouts on the year. He the ERA is down to 2.81. That actually went up today. Like the guy's probably going to win the American League Cy Young Award.
Yeah,
he's having a great year. So, but yeah, the Pirates definitely didn't allow him to just execute at will against them. Like they battled against them. They got 6 hits. They made him walk 3 batters in that first inning. It was the first time Gerrit Cole has ever walked 3 batters in the first inning. How about that? Against the Pirates.
I mean, if we're in the trust tree here, I don't want Gerrit Cole to succeed. I don't really like him.
You know what? I think Gerrit Cole got a bad rap when he was here.
No, I liked him when he was here. I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, I don't mind him.
He turned into a baby, and maybe I ignored it when he was here. But after he left, I just felt like he was a major baby.
Yeah, I don't mind him at all. But the starters both just go the 5 innings, and then it kind of becomes a bullpen game. Thomas Hatch blows the 2-1 lead that the Pirates had. Strikes out Volpe, strikes out Peraza, but then he runs into trouble against the end of the back half of the order. He walked Ben Rortvet, whatever in the world that is. He walks Ben Rortvet with 2 outs to turn the Yankees lineup over. And that's ultimately what led to the Yankees getting 2 runs. LeMahieu singled, Judge singled, and the Yankees take the lead in the 6th. We haven't seen a whole lot of Thomas Hatch, but
I don't care to see much more.
I mean, yeah, I guess is that kind of just your thoughts?
That's just really my thoughts on him in general. I don't care to see anymore. Let him ride out the rest of the year and eat some innings, but for the most part, I don't want him on the team in 2024 whatsoever.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Like, he's been okay since coming over, but yeah, I could do without Thomas Hatch. I could do for an upgrade. I'm with you there.
Yeah, please and thank you.
Yeah. So 3-2 Yankees lead heading into the bottom half of the 6th. Pirates then fight back. So I said it was a very back and forth game. It was an entertaining game. The bottom of the 6th, definitely a scary moment too. Ji-Hwan Bae hits a line drive up the middle, and it hits Anthony Misevich, who was pitching for the Yankees at the time, hits him right in the ear.
Yeah.
It was a 100.6 mile per hour line drive, hits him right in the ear. And somehow, I mean, the AT&T Sports broadcast played the replay like 30 times. So you got a pretty good look at it. And it was a scary moment. He was down on the ground for a good 5+ minutes.
He was on the ground for a long time
and like bleeding, like there was blood coming out of his head. So very scary moment. All reports though on that saying that he's coherent, he's there. So some positive reports out of the hospital that he was taken to. So that's good news. Hopefully he can make a pretty speedy recovery, because it was a scary moment. But immediately after that, McAllister comes in to relieve him, hits Brian Reynolds with a pitch. Brian Hayes 2-run
That's
single.
not a hit. That's not a hit. I don't care.
We're gonna call it a 2-run. It's a line drive in the box score.
I appreciate giving Brian Hayes the hit there. That's not a hit.
No, I mean, so if you weren't watching, Brian Hayes ground ball, really a routine grounder to the second baseman, if we're being honest. And Gleyber Torres just didn't stay down on it, and it just went right under his glove into the outfield. 2-run score. The official scorer calls it a single.
I mean, he probably didn't touch it. I mean,
he didn't touch it at all.
So
we'll take it. Brian Hayes will take it. And then, you know what? Hey, anything
that, his third hit of the night?
It was his 3rd hit of the night. So anything to pump up those Brian Hayes numbers too. We'll take that. And then, it just means more things that Bucko Mike needs to answer for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really all we care about is making Bucko Mike answer for things.
That's really all it is. We are rooting for Hayes simply to just overcome the Bucko Mike slander.
Exactly. That's all we need.
So the Pirates take the lead in the 6th, and they hold on to that lead until the 9th, which we went over.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on Colin Selby though, because I feel like he's he's like the most Jekyll and Hyde pitcher that we've seen, and like he has no idea where he's throwing the ball half the time, but when he does execute his pitch,
he knew where it was going tonight.
He did. I mean, like tonight was a great outing.
He was dominant tonight.
So tonight, 1, 2, 3, 7th inning, 2 strikeouts. He's weird because at times he looks excellent like this, and then at times he looks like he did the other day when he was the opener for Priester, and he just didn't have it right. You gotta like the strikeout numbers though from Selby. Like he generates swings and misses.
Did you have the same reaction as me when he came in of, oh God, this might get ugly?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, 2-run lead in the 7th, and you're like, oh man, we got to go to Selby, because at this point I knew like, hey, well, we bet no Bednar tonight, so it means Holderman in the 9th, Majinski in the 8th. So it was like, who's going to be that 7th inning guy? It was Selby, and Selby 13 strikeouts per 9 currently at the major league level.
And the thing about Selby is, I think you can tell pretty quickly if he has it or not. If he doesn't have it, it's really ugly. But tonight, very early, the breaking stuff was really sharp. The fastball command was there, and you could tell it was going to be a very good night for him. Just like you can tell when it's not going to be fun. And you can usually tell during the openers when it seems like he's starting the game that it's not going to go well.
Yeah. No, he was on tonight though. So an impressive performance from him. Carmen Majinski also pitches a clean 8th inning, 1, 2, 3. He's really grabbed that 7th inning role like by the horns and just run away with it. Like he had to be pushed into that 8th inning role today, but he's now. I mean, I know ERA isn't like the greatest thing for relievers, but 2.10 ERA, the dude just executes like 30. He's at 30 innings now since being called up, and he just gets the job done.
Yeah, he's a little erratic at times, but like you said, sometimes he defies logic and how he's getting guys out. But you can see the stuff's going to play at the major league level. I'm really excited to see him with a full offseason of knowing you're in the major league bullpen. Let's just work on refining some stuff. You're a reliever. That's it.
Yep. I'm with you. Like, I think next year's first full season, like you can expect hopefully some big things out of him.
Yep.
But he's having just an absolutely excellent second half of the year.
Yeah.
Other than that pretty much covers everything. Again, gutsy performance from Oviedo. G1 blows it in the 9th.
Yeah.
Holderman, probably the shakiest we've seen him in a game all season, but again, he technically pitched well enough to win that game. And because of the error there, the Pirates drop one late to the Yankees. So they're now 69 and 79 on the year. Lost that opportunity to get to their 70th win. Holderman.
They just wanted to stay on 69.
That's what it was. Maybe they'll just finish on 69. That would be terrible. Let's not do that. So that was the first of a 3-game series. Tomorrow, the Yankees are actually the team tomorrow with the TBA. So Luis Ortiz scheduled to pitch tomorrow against TBA of the Yankees. We'll be back with a post-game show. That's all I got for you guys, though, tonight, unless you got anything to add, Tyler.
Nothing more to add. I think we covered literally everything that happened in this game.
I think we did. I think we did a good job, too.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for hopping on.
And thank you for covering me for a minute and a half while I tried to figure out my internet.
You're welcome. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.